Good afternoon. Let's get my girl on here. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully fine. I am waiting for my homegirl Tanisha to join the live with me, and today we're gonna talk about taking a leap of faith. Hey, how you doing, Jen? What's up, girl? I miss you. We gotta get together. I gotta go see your new house. Hopefully all the boys and the family and everybody's doing okay. Yeah, so today I'm waiting for my girl Tanisha to get on so we can have a conversation about taking a leap of faith, and what that means to each of us and how to navigate that journey. And then we'll get into like how we met and all that good shit. It's dreary out here today in New York. It's like raining. She's in ATL, so hopefully when she joins us, she'll be able to let us know that the weather out there is much better than here in New York. Hold on, view request. Okay, here she is. Wait, you just bought a second house? Oh no, girl, I'm gonna DM you after this because I just saw your other post. So I'll have to, Jen, I'll have to send you a text message privately after this. Hey, girl.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? Oh, you got the curls going on today. Okay, I
I
see
see
you.
you got clothes. You dressed up too. Happy Saturday.
I love it. I love it. I'm like, you got that whole thing going on.
We leap of faith flow today.
Yes. So I like settle my camera here because this thing is like all wonky. But
What's going on?
how you doing this morning? Or how were you? How was your morning? Because it's technically afternoon now.
Amazing. I got a lot of energy today, so I'm pretty excited for
Oh,
the convo. Yeah, I've been up and at it. We've been working on the business a lot today, actually.
oh,
What about yourself?
yay. Then you might have more energy than me. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm in my
Okay.
I'm in my moon flow.
Ah,
I'm
all right.
I know that's TMI for everybody else out there, but women, so okay, gotta keep it real.
As you always do, as you always
You are
do. Nah, but I got you. I got you. I'll carry you. This is what we do. We support each other.
absolutely. So I was kind of just filling everyone in that, we decided that we wanted to go live to talk about taking a leap of faith and what that means for us and what that can mean for other people. So I'll let you start if you want to introduce yourself and give a little background, and then I can go, and then, we're just going to do what we do and flow.
That's it. So yeah, I am a women's wellness empowerment coach. So I'm helping them reclaim their health, fall back in love with themselves through mindfulness and their food lifestyle choices. A lot of it does flow within the vegan lifestyle, but honestly, just being better you is what I'm helping them become more confident and access that wellness spiritual baddie. So that's a little. I'll do a little bit flow with that one. I'll let you go ahead.
Yes. So my name is Janine Padilla, and I'm here in the Boogie Down Bronx from New York. And Tanisha and I actually met, and we can get into that story in a while because we both have the same mentor and coach. And we met in that space. And since then, we've just been kicking it. And we've also had the opportunity to meet like a lot of other wonderful and beautiful and talented and inspirational women along the way. And I am a soulful mentor. So I do one-on-one coaching. I provide tarot readings. And pretty soon I'm going to start facilitating my secret circles here in the Boogie Down, because I want to bring back these types of services to people within the community first. And then from there, start expanding on that. So I'm excited. We're excited.
Yeah. I mean, we're both very big on community, both. So I love that you're doing those. I'm very proud of you to be starting that. So look forward
I
to see how
know,
it goes.
and Jen just
All
joined because that's my that's my other soul sister over there in Jersey who also has her moon circles. And being able to connect with her in this space has also been like a godsend because this is what we do, right? This container has allowed us to kind of meet so many just inspirational women that are there like to help we guide one another on this journey, right? There's no like fucking competition, no jealousy. It's just kind of like, oh, I have this idea, I want to do these things, and we're all each other's cheerleaders. And when shit is not going right, we're also there to kind of just big each other up. And so it's really, really been a powerful container. But
Yeah.
go ahead,
I
sorry.
feel like no. I feel like that's a good place to start. Actually, is like the support that we give each other. Meeting in Mel's container in June, right? Yeah, almost about to be a year
I
soon.
know.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I always say, when I first started last year, I was by myself. I was in hermit mode a lot. And I thought as a business aspect, like you do it all by yourself. You figure it out, especially being from New York, right? Like you just have that go, go, go mentality and I'm gonna figure it out either way. But for myself, I wasn't. And when I stepped into that container with Mel and I met you and all these other amazing females, it was like, wow, this is such an empowerment circle to be around people who believe in me, sometimes even more than I did during that time, and to just speak life into me and my business and who I am as a person and see my light. And then as the reverse, I kept the same energy up and did it for you guys too. So, it's really nice having that community that's supportive of women that have your back no matter what. And this is what can lead to those collaborations and working together on different projects because we see each other and we see the light that we all have.
Absolutely. And it's important in these spaces to come together because it can be difficult to navigate. And like you said, it's not, sometimes it's like we believe in ourselves and we have confidence, and then all of a sudden we start doing the thing and then shit goes left and not what we expected. And it's like, what do I do? Where do I go? You start doubting yourself. You start becoming, going into that fear sort of mindset. And then it's like, where do you go from there? And so being able to have other people to connect with in this space and to kind of help navigate and guide one another, I think is super important and super helpful. And just in general, what the world, not only what the world needs, but what us as women, especially women of color, also need.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you, let's start from the beginning, right?
I was just going to say that. We here.
This is what we're doing. This is where we're at. This is the space.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what does that have to do with taking a leap of faith? Like, so where did it start? Where did it begin?
Start from the bottom. Now we here. So, those that know, I am from New York. Born and raised, and my business birth then. So my mom, for those that don't know, had diabetes. I helped her get off of her medications through the holistic lens of becoming vegan, incorporate a lot more herbs into her lifestyle. And I also lost 30 pounds on this journey myself. So I was a corporate, I'm going to call it the corporate baddie. I was in the social work field. I worked in New York City schools. I worked in the foster care system, but I was still building my business at this time. So this was probably now like 2018, but I left my 9 to 5 at the end of 2021 because I drove to Georgia for about 2 weeks just to reset because my life was really stressful at that time. I hated my job. I needed a way out, but I didn't know how. All we are taught is to get another job. You apply for something else, right? You're not really told, well, that hobby that you're trying to turn into a business, like put your all into that. Like that's not the system that I grew up in. I'm sure a lot of people haven't either. But when I drove to Georgia just for 2 weeks to clear my head, be more in nature, I just kept getting this feeling like there was a time for a change, a time for a shift in my life. And I didn't really know what that shift meant, but I decided not to go back to New York. So I just had my suitcase and a couple of things with me, and I was like, I'm staying here. Thankfully, I have family here, so it wasn't like a new place. I've been to Georgia before, and I was like, I'm starting a new chapter for myself. So it was this leap of faith that I decided to take to put my all into my business and figure it out. Honestly, like every step of the way, I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew was that I didn't think I could do it all by myself, so I invested in a mentor. And this was before we even got the mail, I just knew that I needed to try and do something else, like to step into my dharma, and I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And my ass got knocked out so many times in 2022. It was unbelievable. But it also taught me a lot. It taught me that I'm never going to stop. I have a lot of discipline. And I feel that you have to find those character traits in yourself when the things are so hard and you just are like, well, what does spirit want me to do? Because I don't know for myself. Like, just lead me. And we've had this conversation before where, you know, where I am today, where I was trying to call in spirit and the universe to help me so much more, right? Like, we're gonna get really real today on this live, right? So last summer, I was like, I don't know how to be in tune with myself. I don't know how to feel into my emotions. I don't know how to call in the things that I want to manifest that much, you know? And we fast forward now where I am more heavily in my business. I am more confident, and spirit is loud, you know, and I feel that they are driving me now more so towards that successful wellness spirituality that I desire to become. So that's a little bit about me. I'm gonna throw the ball your way.
Well, we've had plenty of conversations, and I've gone on, you know, a few lives. Remember when we couldn't even get on a fucking live, and we're like,
Oh, oh,
as if
yes.
to be like the most terrifying thing in the world, and then it's like anything else. And this is the whole premise of taking a leap of faith. It's like anything else. You just start doing the things and you keep doing them and practicing, and it gets easier and you're in flow and you're in alignment. And if you're not forcing it, it's a smooth transition, right, as you go along. But yeah, so born and primarily raised here in the Bronx. Shout out to the Boogie Down Bronx. New York is in the house. I always got to show
I
love for my people.
know.
So my dad did at one point join the military, so we bounced around a bit. But then we relocated back to the Bronx. Parents got separated. Went through some traumas in my life and kind of rebelled and was this wild child and lost in the sauce. BX baby, yeah, Jen. That's the Bronx girl. Even though you relocated too, but it's okay. You and Tanisha. I made two eventually though, so I need warmer weather, but that's a whole other story for another day. But yeah, so it's kind of like I went into this space finally, ended up leaving high school, then going into college, getting my bachelor's, getting my master's, thinking like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. I had kids at an early age. So I'm like, oh, well, I wasn't married, so I did that wrong. So let me follow the steps and try to do things in the right order, right? As much as possible, because I had already fucking went all the way left prior to that. So I'm like doing all these things and I'm in this space and I end up in corporate America and working there and making what I deemed like, a decent salary. And it was good work. I met great people. I had a lot of fun. My the vice presidents, the presidents, managing directors I worked for was great. But every day I would go to work and I'm sitting there and I'm looking around. And as I started getting older, I'm like, this is not me. Like, I don't feel fulfilled. Like, yes, I'm making money. Yes, I'm doing things. I'm able to travel and care for my kids and all this other stuff. But I'm like, my spirit doesn't feel whole. It just like something was missing. And then I started having conversations with some people, and because of the type of experiences that I had in my childhood and my younger days as a young woman, I was like, I really want to work with children. And so I went the route of getting my master's and becoming a licensed counselor and working in the school systems. I started in elementary, moved into middle school. Now I'm working in a high school setting, which I absolutely do love. And it is in alignment with the work as a whole that I am doing. And so I've been this container and the years keep going by and I'm like, okay, I'm working with youth. This is filling my soul. This is making me happy. It's important work for me because of what I went through, that I can be there for our youth who are struggling with their own demons and challenges. And then I start speaking to my homegirls and I start meeting other women and I'm like, wait a minute, we're still fucking broken. Like we still have so much, we're carrying so much baggage. We have so much heaviness within us, despite the fact that we may be successful in our careers, or we may be successful in our relationships and be married and have the house and have the kids, and or maybe not, right? Or maybe it's like, what the hell happened? Like, where did I go wrong, make a wrong turn in the path, right, on my journey in life? And D, hi baby. And yeah, so I started feeling these emotions really, really heavily, and then went through some other shit, heartbreak shit, in my 30s and all that other. I mean, I've been going through these relationship issues. Okay, let's just keep it real. Like, me and relationships have always been a challenge to navigate. But yes. So I'm in one now that's been, going steady, but it's not perfect. Nothing is, but back in the day, forget it. I was all over the place. But so it's just like all these things happened, and it really, I've always considered myself a spiritual being. Like, Jen is laughing. I've always considered myself a spiritual being. I grew up Catholic, did the whole Catholicism thing. My mother converted into Christianity. But then once I was in my early 20s, I really knew, like, I don't want to conform to any one type of religion. So I started becoming more spiritual and reading and learning about other religion and things like that. And so it was during that time working in the school with students that I'm like, and this was a few years ago, this is not too far back, that I'm like, I want to do more. I want to expand. I want to work with other people, and you normally attract women, like who have similar journeys as myself, or even if the journey is not similar, they feel stuck, or they feel lost, or they're not sure which way to turn or what to do next, because there's some sort of void there. And some of them feel guilty or shame about it, because maybe they do have good lives, and it's like, I have a good life, like, why do I feel this way? And so that kind of started calling me to, like, want to do work in a different way. And then I started reconnecting with the tarot, and doing that because I had been exposed to that from 16, 17 years old at the Botanicas here in New York.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, yeah. When I started, I wasn't reading back then, but I would go to the Botanicas to get readings, and they're like, oh, do this and do that and whatever.
Yeah.
And then I kind of shifted away from that in my, like, maybe late 20s, 30s or whatever, and rediscovered it. And then started reading for myself and began reading for others. But then I'm like, no, so Spirit is like, no, bitch, you gotta do more. Yeah. So then I'm like, I want to coach. I want to, not counsel. I want to coach, because I have a license in counseling, but I didn't want to do it under the mental health sort of licensing umbrella, like as a psychologist or a therapist. I wanted to be able to integrate the spiritual component and all these other things into working with others, and just help them, guide them towards empowering themselves, right? And figuring things out for themselves, because we can't save anybody. We're not here to save anybody. We're just here, right? Like with you, with your work with nutrition, and how to, take care of your body and the things that you're putting in your body. All we can do is be here for one another, to educate one another, right? And then those persons need to take those tools and apply them to their lives in order to move forward. And so that's how I kind of took the leap of faith to start the business, to expand from the tarot readings into the coaching space. And now, eventually I want to do retreats. I mean, you and we talk. I have a whole fucking list of ideas. I have a whole book of ideas.
Your list is never ending. So now, I'm trying to be the one that's more on task.
So now I'm like, it's this, now I'm like, I still do my coaching, but I'm like, I also want to do these circles, because I like the in-person connection. And I feel like we lost that during the pandemic, and the energy is just different when you're in the flesh with somebody. And it's just, she said, no, bitch, you got to do more. Okay, D, one thing at a time. All right, girl, I am.
No, they're ready. That just means they're ready for you.
Right. So that's how we ended up, that's how I ended up in Mel's coaching program, that I was referred to from Imani. And she told me about me. Mel, everybody finds Mel through a bunch of
It's
different.
like he's the middle person. Like I feel that almost every person I follow has Mel as a
Right.
contact. You know, 'cause I joined because of Vanessa, the
Oh,
Veganese. So
okay.
that's how come I
Yes.
know of Mel too. So she's just an amazing person. Like that has so many different connections to a lot of people. It's interesting though how like as you were doing your whole backstory that you kind of always been in this space. Like you kind of knew what your path was.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas mine was so different. Like if I do go back a little bit further, I was always the athlete. Like for those that know, like I played Division II college basketball, got my scholarship. I did things the way that I thought they were supposed to. Because you said like how you were more like a wildfire, right? Wildfire. Like I was very strategic. I was very logical with the way I did things. Like you get the college degree, I got my master's degree, you get a job, right? Like that's what I was taught. And you just respect the spaces that you're in. You don't really say too much. You just get by and you go on vacation. Like that was life for me. And you were having conversation with your friends about how, maybe you can do more, like what's the different ways to serve or how can you do better? I wasn't having those conversations with people. It was more conversations with myself. Like I was just having more self-awareness coming through, whether that was spirit or it was just like a calling that I felt. But I went away from the sports world, even though that's what I love. I was like, oh, well, social work is going to make me some money because personal training sure didn't back then. It was like really bad. So I was like, I love it, but we're taught that you got to pay the bills, so I'm going to push that to the side. And it's just, I guess, like the universe is like, no, we're going to bring you back. But I had to go through my time of being in that corporate space and then get the rug pulled from me. Because that's exactly what happened at the end of 2021. Like, COVID was going on with jobs. And, it was just a crazy time where if you got the vaccine, if you didn't get the vaccine, like that really made a decision in your life. And keep it very real, like I wasn't for it. I didn't feel that I should be staying in a job to be forced to do something that I don't agree with. So that's how come I went to Georgia, just to try it out and see what life would be like for me over there. And I would do it all over again, because I think that was the pivot for me to start finding out more of my passions or just tap back into them because now I have time. And when you have time, you have a lot to think about. You have a lot to go through inside your mind, like, all right, well, why did I do this? Or why did this happen this way? And like, how can I get better? And that's what led me to journaling was in 2022. I always say, like, I wasn't doing half of the modalities that I talk about on my page now, empowering women to become this wellness spiritual baddie. Like, no, I wasn't meditating. You couldn't find me on the yoga mat. Nothing. Nothing. All you could do is find me in the gym. Like, that was always my release. Go work out, play basketball, run, or something active. Like I've fell back in love actually with ball. I've been playing for the last month. And I'm like, it's been years though since I picked up basketball. And it's like, damn, there's so much power in the things that you love when you finally let yourself be in flow instead of trying to dictate how your life should look. And we talk about this all the time. Like I have a thing with controlling my
Mm-hmm.
life, definitely. And I'm learning more that the flow, my creativity comes through in flow when I'm not trying to think about how I'm going to get this done or what I'm going to do right in my business. Instead, just if we're correlating the two, basketball and my business, it's more about like, well, when you feel good, act. When you don't, relax. And that's been like my new motto that I'm pushing forth more. And honestly, I feel that it kind of got triggered when we were in Mel's program because, she's all about, ease and flow.
Right.
And it took a while for me to start understanding the practices that we were going through. Because I was like, what? Especially when, Jess would give us homework. Oh my gosh. She'd be like, your business is the house. Like, and how are you going to build it? I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, this don't make no sense to me. Like, talk to me logical. And that's not how the spiritual business is ran. You got to run it from your heart. And it's been a roller coaster ride with getting to this point of understanding that practice. So yeah, it's been interesting ride.
Yeah. No, I remember that. I remember having our conversation. And you're like, I ain't here for the woo woo. I just want to know the what. My what? I want that what, that one, step one process, step two, step three, step four. And And just for everybody out there, like this isn't for anything that is a leap of faith, right? It's not only starting a new business venture. Tanisha and I, that's what we're discussing because that's the place where we're at right now. But it's also about making major life changes or career changes or whatever new thing it is that you feel called to want to experience or do. And you're just kind of like, should I not?
Wait a minute. Because I had a feeling that was going to happen. I'm a Virgo, Jen, so it makes sense.
Yeah, she said I'm getting Virgo vibes.
Yes, yes, yes. And I hold it proudly.
Which is funny because when Tanisha and I, like, I'm Pisces and so I'm water energy, like Jen is a Cancer, but I'm real flowy and but I'm also like Tanisha was like, damn, you got some Virgo somewhere there, anywhere, somewhere there, because I'm like very structured also and organized, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna do it like this, and this is how my brain works. So that's
It's funny, but I always say though, it's so interesting how we vibe so well because the Pisces is my North Node and like what I'm looking to become in life, like become this more flowiness. So you know, the universe always does things on purpose. There's no coincidences that we're this tight. And I've been looking, I'm like, damn, I need to flow more like Pisces some days, you know. But everything serves its purpose. So like I feel that being logical and how structured I am, it got me to a point. And now I'm in this new phase of my life where it's like, okay, flow through your creativity more. So I love it. I really am thankful for this journey that I'm on. Even the books that I'm reading, like about creativity and flow, and you know, Abraham Hicks, we talk about these different things, and Eckhart Tolle, like these practices that they're talking about. It's not about, you know, being so logical and structured in a way. Like it is letting life come to you and accepting the change, whether it's good or bad too. So yeah, the signs of being alive.
that balance and integrating the two, right? I think is just really important in life in general. At least for me, I feel like I can't live this one, be this one being that's so structured and rigid and only thinking logical and then completely turning off the other side of my brain that's kind of like with the creative flow and the spiritual flow and believing in divine guidance and a higher power and all of those things. But so then my question is, because you and I are in different places, right? So Tanisha has her business going on, and so she took a leap of faith in her business and is not employed, right? And so what are the fears and the challenges and all that come up, and how have you been able to navigate that? And then on the flip side, I do still have a day job, but we still have similar experiences in terms of like our emotions and where we're at mentally, and how I can talk about like how I've been able to try to navigate that as well. And how the experience is just basically, you know, being able to concentrate full time on building your business, and for me trying to build a business while also working full time.
So I mean, when I first came here to here being Georgia, I did search for a job, but I knew with the intention that it would only be a part-time job. I knew that the full-time life, I need a break, honestly, from like living by somebody else's rules for that full 9 to 5 stretch. So I started off just honestly doing a lot of dead-end odd part-time jobs. So I did about 3. So one at the end of 2021, and then going into 2022, I had a total of two to three. But primarily, I was only working like maybe 2 days out the week, 3 max, and then trying to do DoorDash in between because I was like, I need money. I got to pay for things. You know, I invested in the coach. My first coach was in December. And I was like, ooh, I'm about to invest $1,000 into somebody when really, you know, I'm invested in myself. But you asked like the thoughts that came into my head was like, I'm giving this person $1,000. Like they better show me how my business is going to, you know, succeed. Like, and that was the first time that was the first amount that was, you know, it hit me. I was like, ooh, like Tanisha, you don't have the full-time job anymore. You know, you're not making, because I was making pretty decent money in New York. So I'm like, how are you going to do this? But you have a saving. So let's just try taking that leap of faith and seeing how it goes. It was okay. You for the first month, but I had too many expectations in that mentorship because I was still focused on that 9 to 5 type of structure. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of breaking down when you're switching from a 9 to 5 to shit my life. That's how I felt, for real, man. And when you're moving from a 9 to 5 to a full-time business, you have to start breaking down how you used to think as a corporate person. It's not the same structure at all. You make your structure as a business owner. You decide when you're going to work on your business. You decide when you're going to take a break, when you're going to eat, all those things. And I didn't realize that when I was in that first mentorship that I was holding myself back from, who I could have been back in December. Like, who would have known how my business would have been, if I put more effort in and stop trying to worry about my part-time job, because that's what I was worried about. I'm like, I got to do things in my business. She's giving me homework, but I got to pay bills. I don't have time to be worrying about both of those. So after that first program finished, I actually left that part-time job because it was making me miserable again. And I also feel that I wasn't meant to fully be working during this time. I felt like the work needed to be on myself. And always why I say that is because when we fast forward from December to about February, I shut down. I went into hermit mode. So I was looking for a job, but I felt like I just couldn't get over the hump of myself. Like, almost like there was a spirit around me that was so heavy, and I didn't know what to do and how to shake it or what was going on inside of me. Like, I was crying a lot, almost every day. And I remember my parents visiting, and my mom and I, we just started watching TV. For those that don't know, my mom's my heart, and I would just feel tears coming down my eyes. I'm like, what is going on? We're watching a comedy show. And I'm like, why does this keep happening? Because I'm not really one to flow in the feelings, especially back then. But I think it was more of a calling, like, you're trying to work on this business and become this, millionaire, billionaire, but you have so much work to do in yourself. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that because I wasn't that in tune with my spirituality then. Like, I was making, I was into numerology and crystals, but there's much deeper work to be done, And this is before I even knew about shadow work. But I got led to a book, The Artist's Way, and that book is what led me to journaling. And when I started journaling my thoughts, it was like, man, your dad told you, this is how you should make money. You're going to be on. Not that he wasn't like, don't be an entrepreneur, but it was, you're going to do that and have a job, right? How are you going to support yourself? Mm-hmm. And that's what I kept coming back to in those times. How am I going to support myself? I don't know. The bills are piling up. And in my head, it's can you do this? And then the other side is but you want to do this, But the work was so pivotal. And that was the first time that I actually met someone over here who's more like a spiritual mentor. He's very big on the Orishas and the goddesses. And I think the universe was just we're going to help guide you because you really don't know how to navigate this. But we're going to put people in your life that can help support you. And so in 2022, I had so many readings, tarot.
I remember.
Oh my goodness. Tarot almost became the guidance system for me to start learning more on how to be more in flow and to relax and not resist. But it took me a long time to get through. My breakthrough took a while. So I met with him, he did a reading, and we started talking about these different practices. He started talking about go out in nature more, speak your truth. I was like, ooh, we're not really taught that. I'll hold on to things, inside, but as a Virgo, we'll hold on to things and then eventually I explode. And that wasn't serving me because I kept exploding in my business. I would take a step forward and then take a step back. Oh, this client says that she's interested for a consultation call and then they don't show up. And now I'm in my feelings. And I was like, man, my confidence just keeps getting shot. But it's why am I relying on the client to make me feel confident? Mm-hmm. And I kept going back and forth. I would have a little nugget go off, a light bulb, and then still pull back. And that was my issue a lot. So it wasn't probably until March where Melissa and I started having some conversations, just being in her DMs, because I thought I was going to be in her 7.0 version at first. When she hit me with the price, old thoughts, old patterns, I said, I'm not paying $5,500, or whatever it was at that time, I was calculating. I was calculating bills. Again, I think I just left another part-time job. And that actually popped up in my reading that I'm not meant to work, but I couldn't believe that. How could the universe decided for me to want to invest so much in myself without having a job. Versus when I had a 9 to 5, I maybe made one investment in my business, and I just couldn't fathom it. I had a hard time dealing with that, like a lot. But 2022 ended up being the year that I spent the most money on my business and myself, spending money on the spiritual readings and how they helped evolve me as a human being. So I think the self-sabotage, it comes out a lot when you don't have anything as a backup. But when you have these mentors who help you see you, and that's what we do as coaches, right? Like we mirror people back to themselves. You mentioned it before, like it's a two-way relationship. Like I'm helping you, but you got to show up too. And that's the work that I was doing for myself with these coaches once I finally figured it out. Like Mel don't play. So she shows you, like, girl, like you got the sauce, but you got to believe in the sauce. And I was like, you're right. But then 2 weeks later, I'm crying. I'm like, I don't know if I could do it, because the clientele weren't always coming through. And clientele wasn't always coming through because I didn't see myself as this person that I'm meant to. Everything is energy. But I didn't know these things.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't talking things. Oh, actually,
Yep.
money is a frequency of energy. Yeah, the more you invest, the more you invest in you. Absolutely facts. But it took a while. I also feel like the other part is you got to believe in that statement, and I didn't. I could say that now, like I didn't. As much as I was like, I'm gonna have the 10K months. These are my goals. Like I'm writing them out, but I didn't really believe that I could do it because I didn't see anybody else in my circle doing it until we stepped into this program.
Right.
And now, Mel's making this type of money, and she's having these guest coaches come in, and it's a different type of energy. And I felt myself slowly changing in that program, started to believe a little bit more, because after, I think in July was the last time I applied for one more part-time job, but it was a sports one. So I was like, okay, this feels a little aligned, and I lost it in 30 days. Like Spirit was not playing with me. They're like, you aren't gonna do this. What you not getting? Why are you not getting it? I was like, whatever, So at that point, I remember having a discussion with Mel. She's like, do you feel like you're meant to work, right now during this time? I was like, oh, I don't think so. Like, I think it's time to really put all my eggs in one basket. Like, stop trying to look the other way. And when I did that, that's when I started feeling a little bit more momentum. That's when I had, a consult. I think I remember telling you, like, I had somebody purchase a consultation call instead of like doing a free one. And I was like, okay, a little bit of flow, a little bit is happening for me. And I was thankful. And this is probably like we finished in September, that program?
Yeah, September. Mm-hmm.
Right. So went away for my first solo trip, and that took guts. Yeah. And it was because of the people we were surrounded by, the support system. No one in my circle, like when I say my circle, I mean my I don't want to say regular friends, the people who I've grown up with, the people that know me, right? We don't talk about solo trips. We don't talk about a digital nomad lifestyle. All these things were unheard of until I stepped into Unleash and Unveil. And it opened my eyes to a whole different world. So when my birthday came around, I was like, I'm going to drive to Tennessee by myself and see how it feels like just being alone. And when I did that, I think that was another investment that I was making into myself to elevate.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did those things, then I started getting more information, more downloads is what we would call it, for how to navigate more of my business in the fall. As we know, in harvest season, it's also about reflection. And I reflected hard, and that's when I started getting into shadow work. And that work kicked my ass again. Kicked my ass again.
Mm-hmm.
It was a dark time. I want to say this, like, business is a roller coaster ride. It's never just flat. Some months are good, some months you're down. And I went with a lot of $0 months, where I really didn't make much of my business, but I just kept going. And in the shadow work, I learned things about myself, and I did my first cacao ceremony. Like, I kept asking myself, like, who am I? Who am I becoming? Who is this person? Because in 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
I changed so much in terms of the activities that I'm doing, invested in my spirituality. Like, this shit is crazy. Like, if I told my friends, they'd be like, what is happening with you? But it all mattered, and the conversations you and I would have, and with the girls, it kept building me up. As much as sometimes I wanted to break, sometimes I wanted to quit. And I did take like a 2 weeks time in I think like November, where I was like, I'm not posting shit, I'm not doing anything. But that was needed. That's exactly what they wanted me to do. Just sit down, relax, and let the things come to you. And when I did, I started having some more movement, and I started coming out with the wellness spiritual baddie and the neo soul chakra activation, these different things that have now started bringing in flow into my business. So yeah, it's interesting being in this space, of really taking a full leap of faith, of like not relying on another job to hold you down. And there is nothing wrong with the person who has the 9 to 5. I don't want to make it seem like that, but when you're just all in on your business, it also says something about your character and you, and you're just never gonna back down. But yeah, it's been an
Yeah. Yeah,
interesting.
that perseverance is what you need to get you through.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, my journey is different. Well, I love what I do
Right.
in my daytime job because it's essentially guiding others, except it's youth, inner city youth.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing in my business, like I said earlier, is just it's an expansion, it's an extension of that work with the integration of more spiritual components, the crystals and the tarot, and because I ain't taking a tarot deck to the school to be start pulling cards for kids, but so but I do work full time, and that is a whole other thing when you're a whole other like road, right? When you're trying to build a business and you're also working full time. And for me, I don't have any desire at this point to leave my day job. I do feel I'm fortunate because I do work in the school system that I get I work a 7-hour day and I have, all of the holidays off, the spring break, I have the entire summer off. So there is a lot of room for flexibility in terms of me being able to do a lot of the other things that I want. And then it's something that I really want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the key. It's like, how bad do you want it? Like, is your soul just calling you like, oh, just try this out? Or is it like, no, this is really something that I want to build, and I don't want to just build it for some overnight success, because that happens to some people, right? But for most of us trying to build businesses, it's not going to happen overnight. And then you're going to have this steady stream of, income and clients and all this other thing. And that's not really what my motivating factor is money. It never has been. It's always connection and community and guiding and being supportive and helping heal. So that's the force that drives me. And I know you're always laughing because it's like, you're like, bitch, do you sleep? Because I will
Yeah.
come home, I'm like, up until 1 a.m, having to go to work the next day, and I'm like
That's
working on,
dedication.
yeah, I'm like working on things or whatever, but it doesn't feel like work because I actually enjoy being in that creative
Mm-hmm.
space. So I don't feel burnt out. I don't feel like exhausted to that extent. But I do recognize when I have like low energy points. And it just happened, that I had a friend pass away last month, and I spoke to you about that, and that hit me really, really hard. Even though I hadn't seen this person, but we used to kick it back in the day, and I was crying for days. And then I had gotten COVID in the beginning of January, so everything I thought I was gonna do in the beginning of January, kind of that went to shit. Right there went those plans, because my body was like, no, you need to like just chill out and give yourself some space and some time to just rest, gather your thoughts, take care of yourself. And I listened. And then my birthday was at the end of the month, and I was like, I need a beach and I need a sun and I need a cocktail. Like, these are the 3 things I need. And it was really, it's what my soul was calling for. And then as soon as I got back, I was like, okay, I'm in my groove. Like, I'm finding my groove now. I'm back in my flow. And nothing really stopped, because while I was still home and trying to get well, and I was still writing my notes, I was still doing my little things behind the scenes. And then now this month, I've been able to like network with people to try to move along the other things that I want to do. But working full time and trying to run a business is also no fucking joke, because it's a different set of it's a different set of fears and obstacles, right? Because you're facing exhaustion. Like, yeah, I have a paycheck coming in, but I still am like having to really be mindful of my time.
Yeah.
and my time with others. And you know, like I'm really close with my family. And so for me, even like even if I wanted to at this point be like, oh no, I'm just gonna not work, which is not what I want to do. But if I did think that, you know, my mom had a heart attack last year. Before that, when COVID happened, she was in the hospital and almost had to get intubated. She was in the hospital for a month. She almost died. Then before that, she's a cancer survivor. So this bitch is a fucking warrior. And it's like my mom and I are super, super close, like you say with your mom. And it's one of those things that I'm like, I have a family that needs me, right? I have people that I need. I can't, for me, it's not a fear of money mindset or anything like that. But in my life and my responsibilities, I'm like, maintaining an income is something that is necessary at this point. I have two beautiful little grandbabies and I'm very involved in their life. So, you know, that's not an option for me at this point. So when you want to take a leap of faith and you want to do something else, but you know, like maybe you have small children or maybe, and there are moms out there, Imani does it. Imani got her own business and she has two small babies and she doesn't have another full-time job anywhere and her business is thriving. But again, you have to follow your own path. You have to listen to yourself and trust your intuition and trust your gut and what's going to work with you for you. And at the end of the day, if this is something that you really want and you really feel called to do, you're going to make a way. You're going to find a way to make the shit happen.
Absolutely.
And if you keep making excuses, then frankly, it's because you really don't fucking want it. That's how I see it. Like, no matter what, whether you're employed, whether you're not employed, whether you got little babies, whether you got a husband, a wife, or whatever the hell it is that you got going on, if you feel like your soul is calling you to start this thing or to integrate these things into your life, or experience certain things, and you keep kind of making excuses and putting blocks in the way of like, oh, well, I can't because of this and I can't because of that, then you're not going to allow yourself to grow and evolve in that space. And you're not going to get any closer to it because you said this earlier, self-sabotaging. You're going to keep self-sabotaging yourself. So yes. So it's not easy. It takes a lot of, you know, on your end, I already know how much time and effort and energy you put into it. And then because you and I kick it, you know, on my end, like, and you're
You're running all the places.
you're steps ahead of me in the process, you know, but it still takes a lot of time and energy. And then trying to play this like juggle game, and you and I are always laughing because we're like, okay, we're gonna do a Zoom call just to like catch up and stuff. Let's pull out our planners because this is the organized part of me.
Right. This is where we structure.
You're like, Janine, you tell me what day, what time you have available, because you're like, I pretty much have some sort of flexibility. And you're like, and bitch, I know you were like all over the place doing all the things.
That's the only time that I'm flexible now. It's in my calendar for the most part, because that's what that business, you know, having your own business does. You make your own schedule all the time. But when you have a 9 to 5, you know, that's not possible. And your family, you know.
And
But,
you have to nurture all the things, right? Like I'm in a relationship. If I don't nurture my relationship, that relationship is gonna go sour, right? Because I can't be like, oh, sorry, babe, can't go to a movie. Like we just went to the New Edition concert. I had hella fun, and we had the best date night ever, and we hadn't had that in a while. And it's like, but you have to make time for these things, and you have to figure out how to structure these things. Yep, exactly, Jen. And it's like you have to figure out how to structure time so that you're pouring into yourself, you're pouring into whatever this leap of faith thing is that you're jumping into, and that you're also nurturing your children if you have children. For me, my grandbabies, right? I'm nurturing my relationship with my mom and my dad because they're not getting any younger. They're getting older. And I really value the people in my life. And I even find time to nurture my friendships, old and new,
Girl,
right?
you do it
And
all.
then we're already looking at dates like, okay, we need to go
Right.
have some dinner and have drinks. Even if this shit is like 2 to 3 weeks out, we already been playing that little like game of figuring out dates, right? Because she's in Jersey, I'm here in New York, so we're like, we'll meet somewhere in the middle. And then you and I, we schedule our time, and we're newly founded friends, right? It's gonna be a year, but we schedule. This is me. This is how I flow. Like, I'm that bitch. Like, if I connect with someone, I take my relationships with people very seriously. And it's not like, yeah, we may not speak for 4 weeks or 2 months or whatever, but I'm going to eventually, we're going to make time, we're going to connect, and it's going to be like as time didn't even pass at all.
Right.
But it's important to me to stay connected with other people and other beings. Jen said you are that bitch.
It's a balance.
Jen is that bitch too, though, because she is.
Oh, yo.
She will
Yes, Jen's energy.
get in her car and be like, "Where? What? I'm going." Like, just tell me what time and what day, and I'll be there. She's definitely that chick too.
You know what it is though. Like we talked about this before. Like, when things matter to you, you're gonna get it done.
Right.
You know, in family, in business, in life. Like, you show up for those that you need to, that are important to you, that you love. And I've mentioned this to you before. I'm like, damn, you really have a good hold, a good grasp on being able to balance everything in your life. Even as crazy as it sounds to me, when I'm like, yo, your schedule sounds insane, but you handle it very well. Right. And you handle all these different things. What's that? What?
That I try.
You do a good job, girl. You do a good job, And I admire that. I love that, like, because I'm the same way. Like, that's why we flow very well together in our friendship. It's like, I could be busy, but you hit me up, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to make the time. Or I know how to balance it, Janine got more hours in her day than the rest of us. It feels like that, for real, Jen. It does, because who are you? You're Superwoman. Like, that's what you are.
I just sleep less. Which is why I have more hours, because my sleep time is minimal, very minimal.
Your manifesting generate, for those who know human design, your manifesting generate self. You be out here in these streets. Like, I'm a manifestor, so I need naps. I gotta cool out. And by 9 p.m., I'm in the bed. Like, and I may not be asleep yet, but by 10:30, that's the biggest structure I have. Like, I don't play when it comes to my sleep.
Yeah.
I have to, because when I wake up, I'm waking up at 4, 5, latest 6. It'll be on a Saturday and I'm up. I'm like, I'm waking up before the birds are chirping. Mm-hmm. Like, who else up right now? But that's when I'm most efficient in my day. Like, I'll sometimes send you a voice note like 7 o'clock. Yeah. What's up? Like, what you doing? So, but that's how, that we're different. Yeah, so I have less hours because I'm sleeping for a good 8, solid 8 in my life. I need that. But that allows me to be able to, go so hard in business. Like, today, I woke up literally like the past 3 hours just on Canva doing different things. And I don't even like Canva. But I've been doing branding today. I've been on my shit. I'm like, all right, let's go with this energy and, that we have. And then, we're doing this today. And then after that, like, chillax and, start checking in on family. But the balance in the chaos is important. You got to balance in the chaos.
Mm-hmm. And so what happens? What do you do now when shit goes left, right? What do we do? Because I know you and I have had a lot of these conversations, like, oh, I'm going to do this one program and I'm dedicated to that. And then it's all of a sudden like, oh no, it's not moving. It's not moving, or things are not happening the way I anticipated it to happen. How are we handling that? Like, I know for me, I'm always like thinking about a million and one different things. So I'm just like, pivot or just try to switch it up a little bit to do something else. What comes up for you, like, during, because I know when I have had these conversations, but for everyone.
So it's throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like, same thing. I have a lot of ideas that flow through my head. That's also that manifested energy. Like, I really have like a million one, but it's choosing the ones that are really fueling me. So, right now I'm in this stage where I have a one-on-one program, and it hasn't been serving me the way that I thought it would. But as I'm taking more time to be in nature. Like nature is very big for me. So when I'm stressed, I gotta go. It's now in my calendar actually. Before it wasn't, like every Friday, or because I'm getting into the flow now, once a week, I gotta go outside into nature, and take a walk or go by the river and just sit or just walk in the forest. And then things start coming to me. And I allow that to just take its process. And that lets me, it's kind of like re-energizing myself. When, okay, like you had a program, it didn't work, no one got in, like instead of you before, it would have been like, what else am I going to do? Like almost like I'm constricting myself and my power that I have in my body. Like you got to do something now to figure something out to make money come in. And it's like, relax, like sit the hell down, go do the things that you enjoy. Because from enjoyment is what I've learned for me is what leads to my success. Like when I'm happy, lately, I kid you not, just the other day, I was sleeping and I had the biggest smile. Like I felt a smile. And I'm like, who are you? What's going on? Like that question I asked so many damn times. It's not even funny. Like, who are you? What are you doing? But it's something I've been calling in. It's just pure inner joy. And from inner joy leads you to being creative. From that inner joy is what allows people to feel my energy and be like, I want her as my coach. And that's what's been happening lately. So you throw the spaghetti at the wall, you see what sticks. And if it doesn't, then wait until the next source of your energy comes through to see what happens. Or what I love is like when you and I have conversations or some of the other girls, I get creativity in that too. When I'm speaking to people, it lights me up sometimes. Like you could say something and it triggers something else inside of me that I could have not thought about before, like an idea in my own business. But we're talking about you. Not forget, girl, that it don't always stick. So it's like, you try these different avenues, and that's where the support comes in so much. And I didn't realize that support can look so different when you're having, this community around you. So I rely on our conversations a lot. It really does fuel me and helps me to keep going. And it's healing also, because we talk a lot about a lot of different things, that go on in our lives. And that healing, when you heal yourself, you're healing your business too. And that allows it to make its move. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Those are the rewards. It's not only, it's like professional and personal when you're able to get into alignment and in your flow with like doing the things that bring you that joy and happiness and ultimately that sense of fulfillment, right? Because a lot of us are walking around just unfulfilled in our day-to-day lives, and not every day is going to be rainbows and unicorns and all that, whatever. We know this, right? Like life happens, things, we're going to experience obstacles, but the way we handle things, our outlook on things, how we respond to things really does shift when you start integrating all these other components into your life, and when you start connecting, as you stated, with other people in this space, that kind of have like the same belief systems and the same mindset, and we're all just kind of like holding each other as we walk this path. And it's really, really beautiful, and it really is important, and it really is extremely healing. And at my low points, yeah, like even if I'm in my head too much, because I have a tendency of being an overthinker and an overanalyzer. I'm like, brain, stop. This is why I can't fucking sleep, because this brain is just like, and it could be anything and everything, right? Like, it can be beautiful thoughts. I can have, dream interpretation. Like it goes all over the place. And so really kind of just to like bring it back and pull back a little bit, having these conversations, always is very uplifting for me also. And it really, really means a lot to me. And it does help me through, and I feel so blessed. Every day, like the more and more, like, I don't know, like it's like this huge shift is happening. And the more and more I get to connect, with different souls that I am purposely putting myself, like guiding myself and navigating myself towards, right? Because nothing is by coincidence. Or you meet someone, and then you're like, damn, like, yes, it's like, it's all on purpose, right? It's like, for me, it's like life on purpose. And as I'm pushing turning 50, this is like such a huge, I still have 2 years before I hit 50.
Girl, you always been talking about you turn 50 like it's in a couple of months. But you got 2 years, really.
2 years, but these fucking years go by so fast. But it's like, it really is, and I keep saying this, and like, I'm not afraid of it. Like, I actually am embracing that I'm going to be 50, and it feels, yes, life on purpose, and it feels, I don't know, it feels liberating. I feel liberated. I really feel like more and more and more, like each day that passes, even with the setbacks, like the emotional setbacks or mental setbacks, because we're all human, that I am really stepping into myself, and that my voice is coming out more, and I'm no longer, I feel like something changes. Like, I don't give a fuck about sharing my story, right? Like, there was a lot of shame before in sharing certain parts about, we've had these conversations, the over drinking and the this and that and all this stuff. And I still enjoy a cocktail. So I'm not going all the way to the other spectrum. Like, I don't do any of that stuff anymore. And no, it's just, again, like, you and me, this is always my thing with
I know
you.
you gonna bring it up. Yeah, go ahead.
Everything is balance, right? You got to find balance in life, or at least that's how that's what serves me in my life, is finding balance in all things. But if
Not doing with the drink emoji.
Jen already knows, that's why we scheduled in that dinner and drinks soon. But but it's just, yeah. So I don't know. I feel it feels good. Like, I feel my soul feels good overall. And when I do go into that, like, those sort of depths of despair or sadness, and because we're human and we're going to have these human emotions, despite how spiritual we are, how many books we read, who we've connected with, who we know we can pick up the phone and call, right? We're going to go through this shit. You gotta be nice. You gotta have to walk, honey.
That's right.
Let's have a live where we do that. Let's get on a live and let's go fucking through the wall. Sorry to our Italianos who are like, don't throw the spaghetti at the wall. But eat the shit with some vino. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so I don't know. I feel like this is what happens when you take the leap of faith. Yeah. This is how I feel, that this is what, yes, the fear, the doubt, the imposter syndrome, the, what if I fail? Or maybe you do fail the first time around and things don't work out, but then you say, nah, I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna try doing it that way. And just continuing to learn and grow from these experiences. I feel like this, how we're speaking and how we're feeling, this is what happens. This is the type of attitude that you possess, and what comes out, because it's like, now you're like, I'm learning how to navigate all these different things, and it's not really as fucking scary as I thought it would be.
Right. I mean, you show up regardless. That's how I feel now. But before, it's the fear's still there. Let's get that out. It doesn't go away. At least for me, it hasn't yet. But I'm going to still show up and I'm going to show out, because I know that this is what I'm meant to do. Like, I know that this is my purpose and I'm aligned with that purpose. And I feel very confident about that now, whereas before I wasn't. It wavered. It wavered a lot. And it was always that, can you do this? Can you continue to show up? Remember, I've said that in class, like, I don't know how long I can keep up this momentum. But now I know that even when I have those down days, like, can't stop, won't stop, Diddy Bop, like, it's forever. This is forever. This is for life, and I'm going to make it no matter what, because I'm aligned. And simple things as the tarot cards, right? Like, for those who don't know, like, Janine gifted me with my first tarot deck, that Pisces love, my love. And when you were talking about speaking up, I didn't want to interrupt you. That actually was my poll for this week. It was speak up, live out loud, brazen. And that's what we're doing now. Like, we're not holding back our thoughts, who we think we should be or shouldn't be. Like, we're just showing up authentically. And that is, I feel like, where that confidence, and you just know that, like, I'm gonna make it, and it's a different type of energy,
It is.
where you said, like, things are changing, like, we're in a different time now. And I really feel that, like, 2023 is that year of just that radical rebirth for all of us.
And
We're
making it on our own terms, right? Because
right,
that
right.
defined by what others deem as being a
Mm-hmm.
successful solopreneur,
We're doing it
right?
on our terms, how we want it. Yeah.
Exactly. And what
Yeah.
that success means to us. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, as someone working a full-time job, and having a coaching business and getting ready to facilitate circles, like for me, facilitating a successful circle once a month is a success, right? And for me, getting maybe 4 clients in a 1 month span, because my program is 6 week 8 weeks, that's a success, right? Because I work full time, so I have to manage my time, right? So I don't have endless hours in the day, believe it or not, Jen. I don't
We
have
don't believe
endless
you.
hours in the day to do all these things, right? So for me, that is successful, and for someone else, they may be like, "Oh, that's it." Like, "Oh, you just have 2 clients and you're good with that?" Like, is that? But how are you successful in doing that if that's all you have, right? So we define what success looks
Mm-hmm.
like for us in our business, or just in life general,
Yeah.
again, for whatever that leap of faith thing is, whatever that change is that you're making for yourself.
Yeah. No. No.
Jen
Too funny.
is in a mood today. I see,
I love
girl.
it.
She was like, she was like,
She's been part of the live, yo. Jen's energy is on it this Saturday.
oh, we should just get her up here. Then this was,
Right.
me and Jen did a fucking, what was it, like a 2 hour live.
I saw it. It was giving life. I was like, yo, they still going, but when you're in that energy, you just keep feeding off of each other, and so we're like, we just gonna keep talking. It's all good. But as long as the message gets out, and it always does. Who's ever meant to hear it, they'll see it, catch the replay. But I think we gave a lot of good nuggets. Like when we show up and we just keep living in our truth, I just can't wait to see what like happens in the next couple of months. I feel like summer is going to be a really big season. Like
Yes.
it's coming
And
through.
you and
Yeah.
I, you're trying to collaborate on a little something, something.
You stuck it out there. You okay? All right.
We gotta put it out there, but like, why not? Like, that's what we all doing. Jen and I have spoken about stuff. Like, we all
Yes.
just out here, like, yes, let's do the
Yes.
things. Let's be supportive of one another, whatever.
Yes.
And everything's a work in progress, but it all aligns, right? You're doing your thing. I'm doing my thing. Jen is doing her thing. Everybody's doing their thing, but there's no reason why sometimes we can't come together and do the thing, hand in hand.
All right. So since you let the cat out the bag a little bit, I guess we can elaborate. We're still things are still in progress. We're still in beginning phases, blueprint. But basically, I came to you because you're the homie, right? And I've been feeling for in-person events myself. For people who don't know, I used to throw events in New York quite often.
Mm-hmm.
And it was rebuilding Black Wall Street back then on Long Island, which is where I'm from, because we don't have as much as the city has and the BX and all that good stuff. But since being in Georgia, I wanted to bring community here. And I wanted to blend wellness with spirituality because it's been so radical in my life, and seeing how the two merge. Like, you can be eating really well, but if you're not in line with spirit and you're constantly depressed, having anxiety, you don't know you're not getting those downloads, the way that you're supposed to, then you're not in full alignment. And I always say that I'm here to help people align mind, body, and soul, holistically. And I felt that it would be really dope for us to collaborate on an event together, bringing that tarot and that, spirituality with the wellness, because we're both about empowering people at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day. We just have different modalities in how we do that. So what we're working on is bringing that to Georgia for the fall of 2023. Yes, September. Just have our own. I don't even want to call it a circle. It's just going to be an empowering event.
Yeah.
Talking about the chakras, crystals, the tarot, the wellness oils. And there'll probably be a surprise. That happens, but definitely like dance too, like the sensuality of being a person. And I'm excited.
Just
I'm
like
excited
I'm
for that.
coming. Yes,
Okay,
girl.
you coming down to the 8? All right. We
I was telling Jen a while back, I'm like, we got to do something in New York, but she's already working on some shit. But I'm like, well, when you done working on your shit, let's do something. But yeah, and
come through.
I'm excited
You
because
can.
I've never been to Georgia, so
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Oh, it's lit. Yo, come. Look, my BX women, come through.
yeah.
Come
No,
through.
it's gonna be great. It's right around fall equinox
Yeah.
time, and your solar return is around that
Yeah.
time too. This is a really, yeah,
Yeah. Right. You know, not even thinking about that, right? Because we were talking about July or August, and then we were like September. So that is because that's gonna be my
that's
my
I think
35.
about. You mentioned it, and then I take it all into this other
Right.
realm. I'm like, wait, but that's your birthday month, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fall equinox.
Oh, it's gonna be even more lit. Because actually, my first event that I ever did in person was during my solo return as well, and it was fire. So now I'm even extra hyped. This is why we talk, because you just throw in some other shit. I'm like, I didn't even think about that. You know,
Alignment,
alignment,
exactly. Yes.
exactly, exactly, continuous alignment. So yeah, I'm excited for that, and I think it'll be really dope having people fly in for of definitely nature because not we, but me, it's full nature back there. Like we're gonna be
Yes.
outside, and it's gonna be really nice, and the weather will be perfect here too. So it's gonna be a
I
good
know.
time.
I was mentioning that earlier because it is raining in the
Mm,
NYC. How is it out
mm.
there?
So earlier today, at like 6, it was pouring
Uh,
thunderstorms. But baby girl, we are in the 70s. I had shorts yesterday. We were in the 80s. So just come on down, y'all.
I'm
Like
coming.
I'm recruiting
I'm
people for here. You know.
because this weather done got me. Even yesterday on the news, I know this is so off topic, but you know how we start. So,
Yeah.
they said something about raw and rain. I've never heard that expression on the news. I was like, what does that even mean? Raw?
Right.
Like,
New York
anyway,
acting different.
yeah, but New York is different, but I'm gonna leave that there. So
Yeah, we're
uh,
gonna we gonna wrap it up there. Like
gonna wrap it up there. But and I know you wanted me to pull. I'm not gonna pull a tarot card, but I'll pull. I feel like for this, I have this. I have a shitload of decks, but I feel like for this, because Tanisha was like, make sure you pull a oracle card. It's something at the end, and I'm like, oh Lord. So I'm gonna pull an oracle card just for us on our journeys. Us meaning the collective. For our on our journeys, on our soul journeys, and it's called the Soul's
oh,
Journey deck.
okay.
Yeah, another one. You're gonna maybe for your birthday. Maybe for your
Denise
solar return,
is gonna be the one who buys
I'll
me
show
all my
up
decks.
in Georgia with one of these decks for you. But let's see what Spirit has to say for. Oh, that one came out quick. Oh, two of them. Okay, two of them popped out. So for those of us taking the leap of faith in our lives, in whatever direction our souls are calling us to, the first card that came out was self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others.
Mm, I like it.
I don't even have to. There's no like. Sometimes you don't even need to have to like intuitively read anything. Like
Period.
it kind of speaks for itself. And this is what one of the things I love about this oracle card, because if you're new to tarot or oracle, like you can get an oracle card and it's sort of descriptive, some of them, and you can just intuitively kind of like figure out what that would mean for you. And then the second one that just popped out, because I was only trying to do one, is empathy. I am open to seeing both sides of a situation.
Balance.
That balance. Yep.
Mm, I love
So,
it.
ooh, I love that. I don't feel like I need to elaborate on that. I mean, the
Yeah.
self-esteem, us possessing our gifts that are benefiting ourselves and others, is kind of self-explanatory. And we are empathetic souls, and this is why we do the work that we do. So this seems very much in alignment. I love that. Thank you for telling me to hold these cards.
It happened for a
I
reason.
know.
But
But I
this
love
is
chatting
beautiful.
with you. And I guess
Yeah.
before we leave, we can say we've kind of said a little bit here. We can just leave it with what we currently have going on, even though I feel like we kind of did speak
Yeah.
about that a little bit. And then and so it is. Yes, Jen.
That's it. Ashe. Yes.
Jen's
Um,
energy, our other girl.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so let's kind of, I guess, what do you have going on other than now you guys know that we're planning something, an event in the fall in
Right.
Georgia, not New York.
Yeah.
But other than that, Tanisha, what do you have going on?
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, Neo Soul Chakra Activation Drinks Guide, where I'm helping you activate the wellness spiritual baddie through just bringing you into confidence with self-discovery journal prompts, chakra drinks, smoothies, herbal teas, affirmations. So, you know, a lot of what we're talking about today. And then also I do have my one-on-one coaching where I am helping you become vegan, or if you're curious about being vegan, that's my 90-day program. So those are probably the two things that I'm focusing on the most. And then I'm running a beta, which I haven't really been speaking about much. And I actually have someone who signed up for that this week. Yeah. So with this in this beta, it is anyone who did the free soulful tea conversations with me. I'm doing 4 calls for the month for people who just want to ask me questions about their wellness journey, their mindfulness, if they just need somebody to hold them accountable. So I'm doing once a week calls with them. So yeah, if someone is interested, they can send me a DM, ask me about it a little bit more. But for that, it's just literally 1 month. You get me, and we can go in depth with what you need.
Perfect. Yay. I got to hear more about
I
this.
know, I know, I know,
Because I'm
I know.
like,
I
from
gotta
that
talk to
last
you.
call, you weren't talking about, you didn't mention, but you were visiting your family and you had the kiddos there, you know, getting in the camera. Like, hi.
It happened this
Oh,
week. This happened 2 days ago. I got this
okay. No,
client. So this is
because you
new.
usually tell me stuff. So I'm like, but yeah, no, I think that's great. So well, anyway, we got to get on a call at some point anyway to talk about other things. But so yeah, so like Tanisha, thank you for those of you who were on with us and hanging in there and tuning in. But like Tanisha and I have mentioned, we're planning an event in Georgia in the fall. And I still have my tarot and oracle card readings. You can just go check out my website. The link is in my bio, and it'll say the type that I offer. And if you feel called to get one of those, you can book that from the website. And I still have my one-on-one coaching program called Dare to Defy. It's an 8-week program, and we meet once a week. For sessions, and there are workbooks involved, and you do get readings, oracle and tarot card readings integrated in that program. And essentially it's for individuals, you know, that are kind of like just tired of like that day-to-day routine and having limiting beliefs like get in the way of them fulfilling their potential of what they want to do in this lifetime. And they're just tired of being scared, and they want to bring in more fulfillment into their day-to-day life. And so that's kind of the things that we really work on, because I've been there, and I love to guide others to empower themselves to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do the damn things too. So that's called Dare to Defy. Enrollment is always open. You can check that out on my website as well. And then I'm super excited to be facilitating my sacred circles. So that should be starting soon. If you're in the New York City area, they are going to be happening in the Bronx. The first one is either going to be May or June. So I'm still trying to figure out a few details, but I'll start putting the word out for that next month. And I think that's about it for now. And, you know, obviously DM us if you have questions or just want to chat. I'm always up for that, you know, to talk to people and connect and stuff like that. So
Yeah, have a good Saturday, everyone. We're here. Always here to empower everyone.
Absolutely. So blessings to all.
Yes. Love you
Love you.
guys. Take care, sister.
Bye, baby girl. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.